This is Mac OS Ken.
A positive note on the next iPhone, governments of the world versus Apple, and a truly big day for Ted Lasso. It is Tuesday, the 22nd of June, 2021. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Headspace. Meditation made simple. Get a free 1-month trial at headspace.com/macOSCan. This show is also sponsored by Ladder, smart, dynamic term life insurance. Money and mortality. Two things that are not the easiest things to talk about, nor are they the most fun. That's partly because nobody wants to think about dying, and partly because nobody likes to worry. Let Ladder take some of that worry away. That's why people get life insurance, especially term coverage, which is surprisingly affordable. You pay a bit each month to protect the ones you love. One less thing about which to worry. Ladder makes it impressively fast and easy to get covered. You just need a few minutes and a phone or a laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithms work in real time, so you'll find out instantly if you're approved and how much various levels of coverage will cost. There are no hidden fees, and you can cancel at any time. So check out Ladder today to see if you're instantly approved. Go to ladderlife.com/macOSCan. That's LADDER, ladderlife.com/macOSCan, ladderlife.com/macOSCan. Uncertainty and strange compares be damned. Wedbush analyst Daniel Ives thinks Apple's expecting more from this year's round of iPhones than it expected ahead of last year's models. Apple Insider has had a look at a note from the analyst. His checks show Apple calling for between 90 million and 100 million iPhone 13s. That's up from the 80 million or so Apple was targeting this time last year, heading into iPhone 12. Quoting his note, while this number will clearly move around over the coming months, chip shortage volatility adds to it. We believe this speaks to an increased confidence with Cook & Company that this 5G-driven product cycle will extend well into 2022 and should also benefit from a post-vaccine consumer reopening environment. While he believes in the next round of iPhones and the number of iPhones he sees as ripe for upgrade, he knows many on Wall Street don't share his excitement. That's one thing that's led to Apple shares underperforming for the first half of 2021 in his estimation. There is another thing, though. Fears around regulators busting up the Apple party. Philip Elmer DeWitt's Apple 3.0 highlights that part of the Wedbush note. Brussels and the Beltway are where Ives pitches his focus, though there is more than that. The reference to Brussels has to do with the European Commission. That is likely tied to recent calls by EC Competition Commissioner Margrethe Vestager to open the iPhone to other app stores besides Apple's. Concerns inside the Beltway have to do with moves in Washington, D.C. Those include the 5 bills aimed at big tech introduced in the U.S. House of Representatives early last week. While it was thought that a few of those bills might affect Apple, Representative Dave Cicilline made it clear by the middle of last week that one of the bills, the American Choice and Innovation Online Act, would change at least part of how Apple does business. Namely, the company would not be allowed to pre-install its own apps on the devices it makes if the legislation becomes law as is. Then, there's a new sheriff in town. CNET ran a piece last week saying that President Joe Biden had selected big tech critic Lina to serve as chair of the Federal Trade Commission. Senate confirmed, sworn in, and everything. According to CNET, Khan, 32, previously worked as an associate professor of law at Columbia Law School and served as counsel to the U.S. House Judiciary Committee's Subcommittee on Antitrust, Commercial and Administrative Law, helping in the investigation of digital markets related to Google, Apple, and other big tech companies. The piece quotes Khan saying in a statement, "I look forward to working with my colleagues to protect the public from corporate abuse." Possible legislation and a new FTC chair seem to have inspired an air of caution. Over at Barron's, Eric Savitz wrote a piece outlining a number of issues big tech is facing in the U.S. after eyeing the slate of 5 bills brought in the House and the naming of Khan to chair the FTC. He's got a few tech watchers thinking things have changed. One guy who worked with the Federal Communications Commission in the late 90s and is currently with New Street Research thinks a period of benign neglect toward tech companies is over. He thinks one of the various efforts to contain the power of big tech will eventually break through. By the second half of the decade, he says, there will almost certainly be real changes to antitrust rules. Meanwhile, an analyst for Evercore ISI thinks market values for big tech stocks have been knocked by about 10%. That's thanks to the uncertainty created by potential regulation. Savitz seems to side with them, seems to think sustained change is on the way. Not everybody agrees. He's got a tech sector strategist at Baird saying that investors tend to view the developments as simply the latest chapter in an old story. Regulating technology, he says, is not a new concept. Looking to head off Le Deluge in D.C., a group of think tanks, political advocacy groups, and nonprofit organizations. Sounds like a lot of other names for lobbyists to me, but I'm not well versed in such things. A piece from Apple Insider says just such a crew, including some organizations connected to Apple, have sent a letter to the House Judiciary Committee urging them to reject a slate of recently released antitrust bills, where connected to equals funded by, it seems. According to the report, signatories include groups sponsored by Apple. The whole thing reeks of whataboutism, but that has certainly been known to work on Capitol Hill. Apple Insider quotes a couple of parts of the letter saying, "At a time when voters are looking to Congress to address the country's most pressing challenges, it seems hard to believe that Congress is instead on the verge of banning Amazon Prime and Amazon Basics, banning the pre-installation of iMessage and FaceTime on iPhones, and banning Google from including Google Maps in its search results. And we believe that voters want Congress to fix things that are broken, not break or ban things that they feel are working well. We strongly encourage you to reject these proposals." While Brussels and the Beltway are the biggest parts of Apple's issues, they are not the only ones. In the past week or so, we've talked here about Japan's plan to investigate Apple and Google over antitrust concerns, as well as plans by the UK's Competition and Markets Authority to scrutinize Apple and Google. There are plenty more issues to go round. For example, let's go round to Germany, where that country's federal competition regulator says it's going ahead with a proceeding against Apple based on new competition laws for large digital companies. According to a press release from the Bundeskartellamt, the organization is allowed to intervene earlier and more effectively, in particular against the practices of large digital companies, thanks to a recently enacted amendment to the German Competition Act. First, though, they have to determine whether the company is of paramount significance across markets. Andreas Mund, president of the Bundeskartellamt, is quoted in the organization's press release. After pointing out Apple's hardware, software, and services, Mund is said to have said, "A main focus of the investigations will be on the operation of the App Store, as it enables Apple in many ways to influence the business activities of third parties." Because they've had complaints, you see, from online marketers and advertisers upset about app tracking transparency, from some who are upset about Apple pre-installing its own apps on the hardware it makes, and from developers upset about having to use Apple's in-app purchase mechanism and having to pay the 30% commission for sales made through the App Store. They'll see how investigations go into all of that before deciding on next steps to take, if any. Now, it is against this backdrop, or those backdrops that Mr. Ives, hey, you remember him, right? Wedbush analyst Daniel Ives. We were talking about him like an hour ago, it seems. Yeah, it's against this backdrop that he says Apple shares are being held down 1 Jackson. Quoting his note, "We believe right now there is roughly a $20 per share overhang on Apple stock due to antitrust and regulatory concerns on the street. With the drumbeat getting louder with the Beltway and Brussels around big tech, with Apple caught in the crossfire, there is clearly some worry on the street weighing on shares. We also believe the Epic Games lawsuit verdict, likely over the next month, has added to the uncertainty, along with anti-tech critic Lina, now appointed to head the FTC. Taking a step back, our view around the monopolistic and antitrust swirls remains a containable headline risk for Apple and big tech for now. We also believe the App Store remains a very defendable moat both in the courts and in the Beltway, and speaks to our view that Apple remains more on the edge rather than the center of the antitrust spiderweb, with Facebook and Alphabet more in the 202 area code spotlight." I assume that's the area code for DC. Mr. Ives has an outperform rating on Apple shares, and he really does seem to think that Apple will weather whatever is coming. His price target on the shares is a street high, $185. More news in a moment, but first a word from Headspace. Meditation made simple. You know how meditation apps are supposed to help you relax? Yeah, the only one that's ever done that for me is Headspace. With other apps, I always felt like I was doing it wrong. Headspace was the first one to tell me that there is no right way or wrong way to do it. No meditation app I've tried before has made that so clear, and no app I've tried before has offered so many options. From meditations when you're out and about, to quick hits to help you focus in a flash, those would be the SOS meditations, to full courses meant to help you build a long-lasting meditation practice. The Headspace approaches to mindfulness can reduce stress, improve sleep, boost focus, and increase your overall sense of well-being. You deserve to feel happier, and Headspace is meditation made simple. Go to headspace.com/macOSKen. That's headspace.com/macOSKen for a free 1-month trial with access to Headspace's full library of meditations for every situation. This is the best deal offered right now. Head to headspace.com/macOSKen today. If you've been eyeing Paramount Plus, they have sweetened the deal for users of the Apple TV app. The Mac Observer says folks in the U.S. swimming in Apple Stream can get a 1-month free trial of the Paramount Plus streaming service. Formerly CBS All Access, Paramount Plus is home to a number of legacy shows and movies, shows currently in production for broadcast TV, and shows and movies produced for the streamer specifically. It also has streams of some live content, including select CBS local affiliates. The offer is available through the Paramount Plus channel on an Apple TV or through the Apple TV app, which is on almost anything with a screen. Available in the US only, the offer ends on the 30th of June. Critic's Choice. Sounds like a store brand. It is, in fact, an award. Or an organization that gives awards, maybe? I don't know. Here's what I do know. Apple TV picked up 2 Critics' Choice Real TV Awards on Monday. You remember when we waited for years for Apple to make a real TV? Yeah, that has nothing to do with this. According to a piece from Apple Insider, the Critics' Choice Real TV Awards recognize excellence in nonfiction, unscripted, and reality programming aired in the U.S. And Apple's picked up 2 of them. Congratulations to The Oprah Conversation and 1971, the year that music changed everything. They each won Real TV awards. 1971 scored in the category Best Limited Documentary Series. The Oprah Conversation actually sort of shared its award. It tied in the category Best Structured Series, along with Food Network's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. You can see Oprah's acceptance speech for her show on YouTube. You can also see the acceptance speech for 1971 on YouTube. And of course, you can see both of those shows on Apple TV+. Monday was a seriously sizable day for Ted Lasso. The surprise comedy hit for Apple TV Plus got gear, got an award, and it got a new trailer. We will go in that order. Mac Rumors says the stuff promised by showrunner Bill Lawrence earlier this month is up for order. It's the usual mix of stuff with the show's name on it and in-universe stuff, though the in-universe stuff is a tiny bit broken because it's got the show's name on it. An AFC Richmond hat would not have the name of the coach on the back. Just saying. Now, the AFC Richmond jersey is awesome. Looks just like the jersey the team wears in Season 1. Doesn't say the name of the show on it anywhere, and it can be personalized. So you can get your name and the number of your choice, or do right by the show, find out what Roy Kent's number was, and get that on your jersey like a true fan. It's honestly surprising the jerseys are available. Lawrence had said that they wouldn't make the scene until September. I would imagine I would look horrible in one of those jerseys, which is one of the reasons I'm not getting one. The other, they cost $60, which really isn't bad for a team jersey. I'm probably not getting one. Warner Brothers is one of the producers behind Ted Lasso, hence the cost and the immersion-killing branding. You can check out everything they have to offer at the Warner Brothers shop online at wbshop.com. As for the aforementioned accolade, the series has picked up a Peabody Award. Apple issued a press release Monday saying that the series had earned the esteemed award for excellence in storytelling. It's kind of a Peabody thing. The award site says Peabody Awards recognize stories that illuminate social issues with depth and complexity, as much as stories that entertain and inspire through their art or voice. Not for fiction only. Each year, the site says, 30 Peabody Awards are given for entertainment, documentary, news, podcast and radio, children's and youth, and public service programming. Special awards are also given to individuals for career achievement and institutions for their long-standing body of work. Award ceremonies are still virtual, of course. Today's was presented on video by Will Ferrell and accepted by Jason Sudeikis, executive producer and star of the show. You can catch that on YouTube. This is the second Peabody Award for Apple TV+. Last year, the Cupertino streamer's Dickinson was honored with a Peabody as well. You got your gear, the show got an award. Now we wait for more Ted Lasso. Don't have to wait long, though. iDownload blog says Apple has posted a full trailer for the show's second season. I didn't see everybody I hoped to see, but it's a 2-minute trailer for a whole season of TV. They probably had to cut a bit. You can see the Season 2 trailer on YouTube. The second season of Ted Lasso starts on Friday, the 23rd of July. And finally today, a survey that proves that people need to stop with the stupid surveys, both taking them and administering. Cult of Mac has word of a survey from SellCell, which bills itself as the #1 phone and tech trade-in site in the U.S. They've asked folks about the naming of the next iPhone, specifically whether it should be called iPhone 13. A ridiculous number says no. According to the cult, a massive 74% of people surveyed think Apple's next iPhone should be called something other than iPhone 13. And triskaidekaphobia, aka the fear of the number 13, could stop 1 in 5 Apple users from buying the next-gen smartphone if it bears that name. Not quite 1 in 5, but close. 18.3% of the 3,000 respondents surveyed in the state said they would be put off by the name iPhone 13. Whether they'd be so put off that they'd put off upgrading is unclear. Now, I'm not sure how the question was put to people, but here are the SellCell responses. The most popular name in the survey was iPhone, with 38% of the vote. iPhone 13 was actually second, with 26%. iPhone 21 was next, favored by 16% of respondents. iPhone 12s was favored by 13% of people polled, nothing kinky. And iPhone 14 was the name preferred by 7% of respondents. If I'm being contentious, I want them all to be some version of iPhone 13 from now on. That's mostly due to me being tired of people being held back by the superstitions of other people. iPhone 13, iPhone 13S, 13X, 13XL, 13XXL, 13_2. And I want each one to have a cracked mirror on the back. Now, if I'm not being contentious, I have always loved the idea of just calling iPhone, iPhone. Either that or iPhone followed by whatever year it's released. That would make it iPhone 21 this year, iPhone 22 next year, and you start to get the idea. But why don't we start in 22 with that and do iPhone 13 this year?
That would please the Dark Lord.
Coming up in a few minutes, NosillaCast podcasts Allison Sheridan and I do not always agree. Like today, when we talk about Apple and its commitment to privacy, and China. Spoiler, we don't solve it. Mostly it's, well, you can hear it for yourself. The show is called In a Few Minutes. Find it and listen wherever you find and listen to podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Ladder, smart, dynamic term life insurance. Learn more at ladderlife.com/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by Headspace, meditation made simple. Get a free 1-month trial at headspace.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. info@macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.